The object was first seen as a dark shape against a field of quiet stars. It did not move. It did not shine. It simply existed as if space itself had grown around it and forgotten to finish the job. Long-range human scanners had passed over the area many times before, but this time the readings were different. The signals were old, strange, and steady, like a slow heartbeat that had never stopped. The research ship Horizon slowed as it approached. Inside, people moved with careful steps and low voices. Dr. Adam Wright stood near the main screen, his hands behind his back. He was not a tall man and he did not look heroic. His hair was already turning gray, and his eyes showed more curiosity than fear. He had spent his life studying old signals, broken ruins, and lost history. This was different. This was older than anything he had ever seen. Beside him stood Emily Carter, the chief engineer. She watched the data scroll past with quiet focus. Her hands were busy, adjusting systems, checking power flow, making sure nothing failed at the wrong moment. She trusted machines, but she trusted people more. And right now, she trusted her crew to stay calm. The object filled the screen as the ship drew closer. It looked like a massive ring, broken in places, yet still whole. Smaller structures floated inside it, like pieces of a puzzle locked in place. There were no weapons, no engines, no signs of life. Just silence and age. This structure is older than our models allow, Adam said softly. By millions of years at least. Emily nodded. It's still active. Not fully, but something is running. I don't know how. The crew listened. No one laughed. No one panicked. Curiosity filled the room, heavy and bright. The region around the structure was empty. Long ago, it had been controlled by an alien power that no longer existed. Records from other species spoke of them only in warnings and half-lost stories. They had ruled through order and control. They had built systems that allowed no mistakes. And they had left this place sealed and abandoned. Those aliens had named the structure in their own language, a word that meant something like final lock. Humans translated it differently. They called it the Galactic Keyhole. The Horizon docked at a safe distance. Small drones were released, drifting toward the keyhole with gentle movements. The first images returned showed surfaces covered in markings, smooth lines cut with deep care. They were not decorations. They were instructions. It's not a weapon, Emily said after a long pause. At least, not in the way we understand weapons. Adam leaned forward. It's a system. A filter. Something that chooses. The words hung in the air. As data flowed in, something unexpected happened. The keyhole responded. Lights appeared along its inner ring, soft and slow. The structure did not react to the drones. It reacted to the ship. To the people. Heart rates rose across the bridge. One officer took a sharp breath. It's reading us, someone whispered. Adam did not step back. His voice stayed calm. It's listening. The keyhole sent no threat. No warning. Only patterns, simple at first, then more complex. Emily watched the power curves rise and fall in ways that made no sense to normal machines. It's not running on strict commands, she said. It adjusts. It reacts. Adam smiled slightly. Like we do. Other species had found the keyhole before. That much was clear from the records hidden in deep space archives. They had tried to control it, to force it open, to demand answers. Each attempt had ended the same way. Systems failed. Minds broke. Ships were lost. The aliens had declared the keyhole too dangerous and sealed the region forever. Humans read those records carefully. Then they did something different. They slowed down. No one tried to force access. No one sent attack codes or override signals. Instead, Adam asked questions. Simple ones. What are you? What do you do? Why are you here? The keyhole responded with shifting light and gentle changes in energy. It did not give answers in words. It showed patterns, connections, possibilities. It felt less like a machine and more like a mirror. Emily noticed something strange. It reacts more when you speak, she said. Adam looked at her. Not just when I speak. When I decide. They tested it carefully. When the crew argued, the signals became unstable. When they talked calmly and listened to each other, the patterns smoothed out. The keyhole did not want silence. It wanted honest thought. Hours passed. No alarms sounded. No disasters came. Far away, hidden stations watched the human ship with growing concern. Alien observers sent quiet messages to their leaders. The keyhole was active again. Humans were touching it. And they were not being destroyed. The old alien rulers had believed that order was safety. That control was strength. They had built the keyhole to lock away choices, to limit the paths the universe could take. And in the end it had locked them out as well. Humans felt something else as they studied it. Not fear. Not hunger for power. But wonder. This thing was never meant for us, Emily said quietly. Adam nodded. Maybe not. But it's still listening. The horizon remained in place, small and fragile beside something ancient beyond measure. And for the first time in a very long time, the galactic keyhole was no longer alone. The galactic keyhole did not open like a door. It did not break apart or reveal hidden weapons. Instead, it changed the way space felt around it. The light near the structure bent in slow and careful ways. Time did not stop, but it seemed to pause and think. Inside the research ship Horizon, the crew worked in long, quiet shifts. No one rushed. No one shouted orders. Dr. Adam Wright spent hours watching patterns move across the screens. The shapes were never the same twice. They shifted when people spoke, when they paused, and when they chose one idea over another. Emily Carter noticed it first. It reacts when we decide, she said. Not when we act. Before that. They tested the idea carefully. When two scientists debated a problem and truly listened to each other, the keyhole responded with smooth, clear signals. When someone tried to force a single answer, the patterns grew sharp and unstable. The system was not measuring intelligence. It was measuring choice. Adam recorded everything. This isn't a lock, he said quietly. It's a filter. It doesn't open doors. It opens understanding. As days passed, the keyhole began sending signals beyond the ship. They moved outward like soft waves, traveling through known human space. Communication systems picked them up as harmless noise at first. Then engineers realized the signals were structured. They carried meaning but not commands. Across human colonies, strange effects appeared. Old research problems suddenly made sense. Engineers saw new ways to fix broken systems. Doctors noticed patterns in disease they had never seen before. The keyhole was not giving answers. It was showing connections. Captain Daniel Moore took command of the Horizon during this time. He was calm, steady, and careful. His job was simple: protect the team and make sure curiosity did not turn into danger. He trusted his crew, but he trusted caution more. We don't know what this thing can become, he told them. So we treat it like a storm. We observe. We don't chase it. When unknown ships appeared at the edge of the region, Daniel was ready. They did not attack. They did not speak. They watched. Alien observers had arrived. Their ships were older than human designs, sharp and silent. They stayed far from the keyhole, refusing to come closer. Inside their vessels, alien leaders watched the data in disbelief. Their records were clear. The keyhole had ended empires. Species that tried to use it had collapsed into chaos or frozen into perfect, lifeless order. No one had ever interacted with it without losing control. And now humans were standing beside it, arguing, learning, and smiling. One alien commander sent a short message to the others. They should be gone by now. Another replied, they are changing it. The truth was more unsettling. Humans were not changing the keyhole. The keyhole was changing how humans understood themselves. Adam noticed that when the crew admitted uncertainty, the signals grew stronger. When they accepted mistakes, the patterns became clearer. The system seemed to reward humility instead of power. Emily felt uneasy. This is spreading fast, she said. If the signals reach military systems. They won't, Daniel said. The keyhole doesn't respond to control. Weapons won't understand it. Still, strange signals continued to move through space. Alien governments tried to block them. Their systems failed. The signals slipped through gaps created by rigid rules and fixed logic. They moved where choice still existed. On one alien station, an old historian watched the data with shaking hands. This is what we feared, he whispered. A species that does not seek order first. Back on the horizon, the crew gathered for a quiet meeting. Adam spoke plainly. The keyhole shows us paths. But paths can lead anywhere. We must choose how far to go. No vote was taken. No command was given. Each person simply agreed. They would continue. Slowly. Carefully. The alien observers sent no warnings. They could not. Their systems were built on control, and what they were seeing could not be controlled. Humans were not forcing the keyhole open. They were walking beside it. Captain Daniel Moore watched the ancient structure through the main screen. It glowed softly now, not brighter, but clearer. It was awake, not because humans had demanded it, but because they had listened. Far away, ancient records were being rewritten in alien minds. The galactic keyhole had not been defeated by humans. It had found something new. And for the first time since the fall of the old empires, the universe faced a future that could not be predicted. The change came slowly, without sound or warning. One moment the galactic keyhole showed moving patterns of light. The next, the patterns settled into clear shapes. Lines formed. Images followed. The system was no longer only reacting. It was remembering. Dr. Adam Wright watched the screen in silence. The images were not written in words, but their meaning was clear. Cities rose and fell. Fleets crossed stars in perfect lines. Whole worlds moved as one, guided by a single rule. Order. These are records, Adam said. Not predictions. History. The keyhole was showing the story of its makers. Long ago, an ancient alien civilization had believed chaos was the greatest danger. They feared choice, difference, and doubt. So they built systems to remove them. Laws became perfect. Decisions were calculated. Every action was planned before it happened. At first, their empire grew strong. No mistakes. No rebellion. No delay. Then the images changed. The cities became still. The fleet stopped exploring. No new ideas appeared. When something unexpected happened, the systems could not adapt. Worlds failed one by one, not in fire, but in silence. They didn't lose a war, Emily Carter said softly. They stopped moving. The final image showed the galactic keyhole being sealed. The ancient aliens did not destroy it. They feared it. It had begun to reject them, responding less and less as their choices vanished. They locked it away, Adam said. And then they vanished with it. The room stayed quiet. Humans did not react with fear. They reacted with debate. Some wanted to study the records deeper. Others argued the risk was too great. A few suggested shutting the keyhole down before it revealed more. Voices rose. Mistakes were made. Assumptions were challenged. The keyhole reacted to all of it. When arguments turned rigid, the signals weakened. When people admitted they might be wrong, the system responded with clarity again. It did not punish disagreement. It punished certainty. Professor Laura Bennett joined the team during this time. She was not a physicist or an engineer. She studied systems, people, and how groups made decisions. She spent hours watching humans argue while watching the keyhole respond. Finally she spoke. It answers us because we don't pretend to know, she said. We accept uncertainty. That's what it's built to protect. Captain Daniel Moore crossed his arms. You're saying doubt is the key? Laura nodded. Choice, doubt, and change. The ancient aliens removed those things from themselves. The keyhole stopped seeing them as alive. Alien observers watched all of this in growing fear. Their leaders gathered in hidden chambers far from human space. The images from the keyhole spread among them, and with each replay the fear deepened. Their own civilizations were built on rules layered over rules. Every decision approved by systems older than memory. It had kept them safe. It had kept them stable. And now they saw what stability led to. One alien leader spoke in a low voice. Humans were never part of the design. Another replied, yet the system favors them. That should not be possible. But it was. Back on the horizon, humans reached no final agreement. They made no perfect plan. Instead they chose limits. The keyhole would not be forced. Its records would not be copied without care. Every new step would be questioned. They wrote rules knowing the rules would change. The keyhole responded with its clearest signal yet. Not images. Not light. Understanding. Adam felt it like a pressure behind his eyes, gentle but deep. The keyhole was not teaching facts. It was showing relationships. How one choice bent 1,000 paths. How control narrowed futures. How freedom widened them even when it hurt. Emily stepped back from her console. This thing isn't dangerous because it's powerful, she said. It's dangerous because it refuses to lie. Laura smiled faintly. That's why the old empires failed. Alien leaders made their own decision then. Humans were not enemies. They were worse. They were a variable. The galactic keyhole had not been waiting for a stronger species. It had been waiting for one that could live without knowing the end. And that truth spread through the galaxy like quiet fire. The message from the Galactic Council arrived without warning. It was short, formal, and cold. The demand was clear. Humans were ordered to shut the galactic keyhole down at once. The Council called it a threat to balance, safety, and long-standing order. They did not ask. They expected obedience. On the research station near the keyhole, the message played on every screen. No one spoke at first. Captain Daniel Moore read it twice. Then he looked at the people around him. Scientists, engineers, pilots, and technicians from many places stood together, tired but alert. No one reached for a weapon. No one panicked. They're afraid, Emily Carter said quietly. Dr. Adam Wright nodded. They always were. The humans did not refuse the council in anger. They discussed the message openly. Arguments followed. Some feared isolation. Some feared war. Others feared losing the knowledge already gained. Mistakes were made in the discussion. Voices rose. People changed their minds more than once. Through it all, the galactic keyhole continued to glow, calm but watchful. Professor Laura Bennett watched the signals closely. "It's reacting again," she said. "Not to the message. To us." The keyhole did not grow brighter or louder. Instead, its patterns became tight and restless. Energy levels rose in slow waves. "It's overloaded," Emily said after checking the data. "Too much attention. Too many questions at once." Captain Moore made a choice. "We limit contact," he said. "No more direct interaction. We share what we already know. Nothing more." The decision was not perfect. It was not final. But it was honest. A response was sent to the Galactic Council. Humans would reduce their use of the keyhole. They would share their findings openly with all species. But they would not destroy it. They would not silence it. The Council did not reply. Hours later, the station shook. Alarms sounded sharp and fast. Lights dimmed as power surged across systems that were never meant to handle it. The keyhole's energy spiked without warning. "It's reacting to withdrawal," Emily said. "Like it's trying to speak all at once." Captain Moore did not hesitate. "Evacuation now." Pilot James Turner was already moving. He did not wait for full orders. He trusted the training, the people, and his own judgment. Small transport ships launched from the station in tight waves. James guided them through unstable space with calm focus. Debris drifted loose as parts of the station shut down. One transport lost power and spun out of line. "I've got it," James said, his voice steady. He cut speed, rolled his ship, and used the station's fading gravity to pull the transport back into formation. No command told him to do it. No system planned it. He saw a problem and chose a solution. Inside the station, Emily and Adam stayed until the last possible moment. They shut systems down by hand, sharing tasks without waiting for confirmation. When one corridor lost light, someone laughed nervously and passed out handheld lamps. No one was left behind. As the final ship pulled away, the station went dark. The keyhole flared once, then settled. Its energy dropped, slow and controlled, like a deep breath released. Alien observers watched everything. Their fleets stayed distant, weapons powered but unused. They saw humans leave without trying to control the keyhole. They saw pilots act without commands. They saw decisions made in seconds that no rigid system could plan. One alien commander whispered, "They are not masters of it." Another replied, "They are partners." The evacuation was complete. Every human ship moved to a safe distance. No one cheered. No one claimed victory. Lives had been saved, and that was enough. Captain Moore stood on the bridge, watching the ancient structure drift in silence once more. "We didn't shut it down," he said. "We stepped back." Laura Bennett nodded. "That's why it didn't break us." Far away, the Galactic Council met in emergency session. Fear spread through their ranks, not because humans had defied them, but because humans had chosen restraint. Control they understood. Cooperation they did not. The galactic keyhole remained in space, quiet and unchanged. It had not been conquered. It had not been used. It had been respected. And that simple fact unsettled the galaxy more than any weapon ever could. The final decision was not made in a meeting room or written as a command. It came slowly through tired voices and long silence. Humans had learned what the galactic keyhole could show. They had also learned what it could take. The ancient structure remained calm now, its light soft and steady. It no longer pushed knowledge outward. It waited. Dr. Adam Wright stood near the main window of the last active station. The station was quiet, most systems already powered down. Outside, the keyhole drifted like a dark ring against the stars, unchanged by time. "It's ready," Adam said softly. "Not for more answers. For an ending." Emily Carter stood beside him. She looked older than when she first arrived, not from age but from weight. She had seen what the keyhole revealed. Paths without limits. Power without guidance. Truth without comfort. "We could keep going," she said. "It would keep responding." Adam nodded. "And one day we would stop choosing carefully." That was the danger the ancient aliens never escaped. Not destruction. Comfort. Humans argued one last time. Some believed sealing the keyhole was a mistake. Others feared leaving it open would slowly change humanity into something rigid and afraid of uncertainty. Mistakes were made in the debate. People spoke too strongly, then pulled back. Minds changed. In the end, no one claimed certainty. That was enough. The plan was simple and careful. The keyhole would not be destroyed. It could not be. Instead, humans would seal its active layer, closing the paths that allowed direct response. The structure would remain as it was meant to be. Silent. Watching. Waiting. The process took hours. Emily worked with slow hands, guiding machines she barely understood, trusting patterns instead of commands. The keyhole reacted gently, like it knew what was happening. As the final seal engaged, the system changed one last time. Records opened. Not for humans but for itself. The ancient system updated its internal memory. It had been built to track species, to measure order, predict behavior, and limit chaos. Every civilization it had known fit into its models. Humanity did not. The record marked humans as a new variable. Unpredictable. Adaptive. Unfinished. The system could not calculate their future. And for the first time since its creation, the galactic keyhole accepted that uncertainty. Alien observers felt the shift immediately. Across hidden stations and distant fleets, instruments registered the seal. Panic did not follow. Silence did. One alien leader stared at the data in disbelief. They closed it, he said. Another asked, did they fail? No, the first replied. They stopped. The station around the keyhole was evacuated soon after. Ships departed in small groups without ceremony. No flags were raised. No speeches were given. History had already been made quietly. Emily Carter stayed behind longer than most. She stood alone at the viewport, watching the keyhole one last time. It no longer glowed. It no longer responded. It simply existed. She felt no regret. We could have ruled, she whispered. But we chose to walk away. Captain Daniel Moore waited patiently behind her. That's why it trusted us, he said. Emily turned from the window and followed him toward the transport ship. The station lights dimmed as systems shut down one by one. Doors sealed. Airlocks closed. The station drifted empty in space, a quiet witness to a choice made without force. As human ships left the region, the galaxy adjusted. Not through war. Not through fear. But through awareness. Alien civilizations reviewed their laws. Some loosened control. Some resisted and grew uneasy. None could ignore what they had seen. Humans had touched something ancient and absolute. And then they had let go. Far from the keyhole, on a small human ship, Emily looked out into open space. Stars stretched endlessly ahead. There was no map for what came next. No system to guide them. She smiled. Humanity moved forward the way it always had. Not by control. Not by perfect plans. But by choice. And the galaxy at last understood the danger of that strength.